and it was actually
something else.
It was perhaps maybe like the step sequencer, and they were reversing those.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, because that has a reverse in it.
And the way they framed it looked like you were able to edit the contents in the MIDI clip.
So then there's that's kind of that's pretty much it. Has anyone got any questions?
If you had a JIT.p window and you put it, would it show up there?
Yep.
Have you done any DMX controls on anything like that?
With Max itself, there's a bunch of guys who've done a hell of a lot of DMX controlling out of Max. And the thing about it is that all content that's been written in the past for Max is just immediately transferable into this thing. So you could take a Max patch that someone's written to control a whole big DMX rig, and you could just chuck it in one of these, and it'll run.
It just pops right in there.
Yeah. Well, no, you need to goof with it. I mean, one of the things about creating interface views for live is that they've just given us this window down here this high. So we've kind of tried to make a graphical kind of. So we've said, okay, in the white space, that's where you put your interface elements, because that's all you're going to see in live, because you could do stuff like this. And then, check it out. It is, see, it's gone. Yeah, it's only that high.
Oh, okay, and there's no way for the live devices to be maximized.
Absolutely there is. So the way that I'm personally, because I'm working on a bunch of
spacebar drag.
I'm working on a bunch of these pluggo things right now. Let me see where. And this thing that I'm working on, so the stutterer has different. So here's the left channel, and there's the right channel, and here's a trigger view. So, and the way that this works inside of the patch is that I have this big sort of interface object here, and that is so I'm just looking at different parts of that big interface view. I'm running offsets. So let's show you how that. No, you won't be able to. This might work. Preview is off. So there it is. So you can see it there. There are my different views, and then I can trigger. I'm looking at different parts of that patch.
So, like you can run a buffer and capture the audio like with that one object you showed, but you couldn't actually dynamically affect the object inside of live that holds the audio, like reposition the playback head instead of buffering the audio and then repositioning the playback head. The thing you showed us buffers the audio and then repositions the playback head.
Yeah.
But you can't like get inside the actual play object or whatever it is that's playing back the audio inside of live.
No, they haven't given us access to do that, and they'd be crazy to do that because we'd wreck their app in 5 seconds. But so it still basically operates in the plug-in paradigm. But here the thing about that is, if you wish to have control over the content, the playback content of an audio file, you don't need to worry about whether or not you can get into Live's playback mechanism, because you can just load that yourself into your patch. Because we can do drag and drop from Live's file browser directly into our amps, so you can use our devices as playback machines in Live as well. So all of the stuff that you could use for accessing buffers and everything inside of Max MSP, you can pretty much use it the same way. You just don't get to drop them in slots. You get to drop them on devices. Fuzzy.
When's it coming out?
Oh yeah, right. Never. It's just going to be demoed in perpetuity. No, well, we were hoping that it was going to be kind of early July. I hope that'll be something like that.
Is there a demo version out?
No, we're in we're in really tight internal testing at the moment. Mostly, Ableton had a bunch of problems with Live 8, and they needed to do a bunch of extra work on that. So things kind of got pushed a little bit. But I'm thinking that what's going to happen in early May is that we're going to be pushing out to a much wider tester base, and then we'll just see how we go from there. Hopefully it'll only be a couple more months. Most of the stuff is in place. I mean, the things that are really been really tricky for us to work on is the whole idea of creating these devices so that they're self-contained, so that they can be shared via Live's new collaboration feature, the online sharing thing that they've got coming up. So we want to have it so that if a project has a MaxForLive device in it, and that project is getting shared using Ableton's collaboration, that we're not kind of left with bits of broken Max MSP patches all over the world. You know what I mean? It has to work so that everyone gets the exact same content. So
if they own MaxForLive.
But presumably people who share projects with Ableton's collaboration thing are going to have to line up there. Otherwise it's just going to be impossible. They're all going to have the same stuff, right? Yeah. So hopefully just a few more months for that.
How is the state saving? I imagine that all of the, everything that you do in the MaxForLive, I don't know what they're called in Live, objects or whatever, right? How does it deal with that? Do you still have to build in using the pattern system or the presets?
So this thing here is a live oriented Max MSP object, which means that with a bit of luck, it'll, for some reason or other, it's not. Maybe I just didn't. Anyway, it's supposed to have shown up as an option for automation, but for some stupid reason in my patch it's not. That's probably because I switched it off by mistake. Which means that any automation, any changes you make to the state of this thing in a live project, Live's going to save just like it was any other parameter of any other plugin or of Live or whatever. Mm-hmm. For certain other kinds of objects, like this multi-slider here, Live, you connect those up using using Patter, and Live remembers the state of the object as a kind of a blob bunch of data, which it will reset at the beginning of the track.
Huh. So can you create presets?
Yes, you can.
Okay, and then you would call it, and it talks to Patter, and then
you can create presets of Max devices, and that's in the same way that you make presets out of your Live devices as well.
Right. Okay. So
and the other thing is that if you want to, is that you can just void that whole thing altogether, and you can go and write your own. You can go and roll your own preset or state saving mechanism in Max MSP, just like you always have done. You can completely ignore Live if you want to.
So one other thing, how do you deal with loading samples and buffers that way?
How do you deal with loading? Say I want to keep a history of loaded samples and buffers in a device.
Yeah. So is that all? So there's no, if you load something into a buffer.
Well, the way that there'd be two ways that I would approach that particular problem. The first one is, is there anything that I can't do just in Live by itself? Is there something? What do I need to have a more? Why isn't Live's sample loading mechanism good enough for